I think during our next break I'm going to put up all the archives because I've been very bad about putting up the archives. Oh. Let's see, how you guys doing today? Man, okay, I'm glad that so many of you are having a good day. Ooh, that's not fun. Oh, man. Well, you know what? If your day isn't going 100% how you want it, and if you're not feeling well, I really hope that you start feeling better, and I hope that your day turns around. Okay? Oh, my. Oh, that's not fun, Andrew. Oh, no. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's get started with our lesson, everybody. Okay. So, the problem on the board says Daniel has not cleaned his room. What is another way to write has not? So what is another way to write has not? Now for this, you're specifically kind of looking at the spelling of it, and you're looking at that little doohickey hanging down from the ceiling. A little doohickey hanging down from the ceiling. Does anybody remember what that thing is called? What is that little doohickey called? Anybody? Anybody remember? Let me see. What would that thing be? What would it be? Andrew, what do you think?
It's an apostrophe.
An apostrophe. An apostrophe. So let's take a look at this. Let me move that out of the way. Okay, so these two have that little doohickey hanging down from the ceiling. That's an apostrophe. That's an apostrophe. Now, when we're looking at that little doohickey, what is that thing for? What is that thing for? Does anybody know? The little doohickey hanging down from the ceiling. Raise your hand if you know what that thing is for. Now that we remember what it's called, right? Because knowing what it is and knowing what it's called, sometimes different things. So what is that thing for? What is it for? Boparat, what do you think? Ooh. Brianna, you're in here a couple times. Yep. Tell us about it, Boparat. Little hard to hear you. I think some of your words are getting cut off. Yeah,
that's
that's okay. I kind of heard you right there. So what is the apostrophe for, Boprat?
apostrophe is for like an int.
Okay. Okay, well, hold on, Boprat. Hold on. So sometimes I think it can be a little hard to explain. It can be a little hard to explain. So anyway, let's take a look at this thing, guys. So whenever we have an apostrophe there, it's because it's kind of replacing something. It's replacing something. Okay? So let's take a look at the word has not, or the words has not. Now I'm just going to smush them together, because that's kind of what it's asking us. Like, they want it to be smushed together so we can be a little bit lazy and we don't have to say two words, we only have to say one word. So if we smush them together, we need to decide, do we want it to look like that or do we want it to look differently? Well, a long time ago, someone decided, hey, let's make it different. What we're going to do is we're going to put an apostrophe in there to replace something. We're going to put an apostrophe in there to replace something. So think of the word hasn't. Has not, Hasn't. Hasn't. What do you hear it's missing? Hasn't. If I'm thinking about it, I hear the h, a, z, s, n, and t. Hasn't. Hasn't. There is one thing specifically missing, and it's the O. So what we're going to do is we're going to put an apostrophe there, and we're just going to take out the O. Ta-da! And that's how it works. Whenever you see an apostrophe, guys, it's because they decided they wanted to get rid of a letter. They said, hey, we don't need that letter to make this word, so we're just going to put a little apostrophe there, so then you guys know that something was missing there. And that's how it works. Hasn't. Now, if we look over here at our options, the first one, there's nothing missing there. It just has it as a break in between the words, which isn't right. It should be replacing a letter. So A is not correct. Then look at B. B looks exactly how my other one does. So B is correct. So that one would actually be our answer. And then on C, there's no apostrophe. It just decided to drop the O without adding anything in there. So that one's not right either. So excellent job for everyone who said that it was B. B is the correct answer because that apostrophe is replacing the O. Very good. Okay. All right, let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. So today, we're going to be doing our poem of the week, and we're going to be talking more about summarizing. So let's go back to our poem of the week. Now, who remembers what was going on in the poem of the week? Raise your hand. Let me clear my hand raisers first. Hold on. Okay, raise your hand if you can tell us what happened in the poem of the week. What happened in the poem of the week? Let's see. Tanner, tell us about it. What happened in the poem of the week?
The teacher gets really bored and it falls asleep, and the students have to wake him or her up.
Very good. I love it. So that nice summary of the poem, Tanner, telling us the teacher must have gotten very bored. So they fell asleep, and then the students had to wake him up. Just a brief summary of what happened. Very good. Not repeating the entire thing, not giving us all the details, just giving us a summary. Love it. All right. So, with this poem, yeah, it had that little trick thing going on at the end of it. We thought that maybe a student had fallen asleep or something like that, but no, it was the teacher. Teachers get tired too. So, let's go ahead and I'm going to take a volunteer to read our poem of the week. I'm going to take a volunteer to read our poem of the week. Let me see. Oh man. This is pretty good. I'm liking it. Alright, how about Zach R. Zach R. Can you read us our poem?
Falling Asleep in Class by Ken Nesbitt. I fell asleep in class today as I was awfully bored. I laid my head upon my desk and closed my eyes and snored. I woke to find a piece of paper sticking to my face. I slobbered on my textbook and my hair was a disgrace. My clothes were badly rumbled and my eyes were glazed in red. When time to spell a green invitation in my head. I slept through the class, and probably I would have slept some more, except my students woke me up as they headed out the door.
There we go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think we're having a lot of tech issues today. Having a lot of people logging out, logging back in, and getting stuck in here multiple times. Interesting. Okay. All right. Nope. Nope. I think everybody's good now. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and let's take a look at our story here. Now, in this poem, even though it's funny, it's good, it's got some good stuff in there, there's also some words in there that maybe we're not entirely sure about. So one of the words that I picked out is the word disgrace. Disgrace. Now, just looking at that word, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you think that means, disgrace? Do you think it's something good or something bad? Do you think it's something good or something bad? Yeah, probably something bad. Let's take a look at it. So, I woke to find a piece of paper sticking to my face. I'd slobbered on my textbooks, and my hair was a disgrace. My hair was a disgrace. So what do we think? What's going on with their hair? What's going on with their hair? How would you guys describe their hair? How would you describe their hair? Let's see. Why? Let's see. Okay, Haley. Haley, how would you describe their hair?
I think it was a mess.
Very good. It is a mess. You got it. Interesting. Sorry guys, I'm going to get distracted a couple times. Alright, so it is a mess, yes. Their hair is like a disgrace. It's a mess. It's going all over the place. Now, even if this word was something that maybe you're not super familiar with, like you don't use it in everyday conversation, when we read that stanza, we're able to kind of better identify what the word means. Chris, keep your hand one way or the other. Thank you. All right. So, so when you are reading these stories, I really want you guys to keep in mind that most words that you don't know, you're going to be able to figure out what they are based on the words around them. One of the big things about reading is being able to look at the entire thing to tell you what it is. I mean, even if you have trouble reading something, you don't want to necessarily sound it out by letter. You don't want to sound it out by letter, because that would sound like d, d, I, is, gr, 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 a, or something like that. When you're reading, guys, you need to look at the sentence around it and then chunk up the words. chunk the words up. If you read letter by letter, you're not going to be able to figure out what the word is. Okay, so it's an important skill to be able to chunk the word up and then to look around it to figure out what the word means. Okay? So with this word, we could chunk it up like this. Disgrace. That way you're dealing with a 3-letter part and then a 4-letter part. Okay? By making the word smaller and chunking it, you can bring it together as a whole word. And then look at the words around it to help you out. Okay? So if they had paper sticking to their face and they had slobbered on their textbook, I'm guaranteeing you that their hair does not look good. I mean, seriously, how could their hair look good? I don't think it's possible. All right, very good, guys. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump into our summarizing practice. Now, you guys did very, very good yesterday for writing. Loved it. Try and find it in here. Maybe it's already up. Are you already up? Nope. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Now, someone remind me, what is summarizing? What is summarizing? Go ahead and raise your hand if you can tell me. What is summarizing? Oh. Hands up, hands down. Where are you going, Scarlett? Okay, Scarlett, tell us about it. What is summarizing? What is summarizing?
It's when you write about the plot, setting, and the characters.
Love it. I love how you said that. So it's when you're writing about the plot, the setting, the characters. So when we talk plot, that's like the main juice, the main thing that's going on in the story. The problem, the solution. That's what the plot is. Sorry. All right. All right. Now, the other big parts about writing a summary are the characters and the setting. Because if you start explaining, well, there is this Fire Nation who's trying to take over and da-da-da-da, I have no idea what you're talking about. Who's trying to stop them? What's going on? Where are they? You need to be able to tell who the main character is and then what the setting is. Most stories have one main character. They have one main character. Some of them will have a few more. But when you're talking about a summary, you really need to talk about the main characters. So if there's one person that the story revolves completely around, that's the main character. Okay? So anyway, let's take a look at this. Retell the story in your own words to help put events in order. Now that's another thing. If you're doing a retelling of something that's longer and has some details about what happened first, what happened second, and things like that, you want to make sure you go in order. You never want to go out of order and start with the last thing and then go first and middle or whatever. You want to make sure that when you're writing, you are writing about what is going on. Okay? You're writing about what is going on. And you need to go in the order that it happened. Okay? So if I was just doing a summary of the first episode of Avatar, the very first episode, I would say that, let's see, Sokka and Katara were out on a fishing trip when they found a boy in a giant iceberg. What's the iceberg? It's the ice cube. So Katara breaks him free, and it turns out he's the Avatar. So they take him back to his village to see what to do. Doing that, you are going in order. I'm not telling you every single line of the story. I'm not telling you what they said. I'm not telling you that Katara got really mad at Sokka and, made a big wave and stuff like that. I'm giving you the basic details. Okay? That's what a summary does. Let's see. Now we're going to take a look at this little section, and we are going to summarize what is going on in here. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at this. With a loud crack, Janelle hit the baseball with her brand new bat. It sailed high above the torn red cap on Billy Maxwell's head. It grazed the leaves on a branch of the willow tree, heading straight for Mr. Flannery's house. It slid above the rickety board fence at the edge of Janelle's yard, and it kept going, right through Mr. Flannery's living room window. Janelle waited for the crash of glass. She waited for an angry yell. But Mr. Flannery didn't get mad. His window was open. The ball landed on a book in his lap. He stood up, leaned out the window, and threw the ball back over the fence. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to underline 3 important events in this selection. We're going to underline 3 important things. So I want you guys to think back. What were some important things that happened? What are some important things that happened? Like if we were describing this story to someone, what would we say are some important things? Natalie, Aaliyah, Boparat, make sure you're paying attention. That was Natalie, Aaliyah, Boparat. Make sure you're paying attention. Aurora, what do you think? What's something important?
That it was heading straight for Mr. Flannery's house, maybe?
Yes, very good. That's something important because that kind of builds up some suspense. It's telling you something bad could happen. So it's heading straight for Mr. Flannery's house. That could be our first thing. What's something else important that happened in the story? What's something else important that happened in the story? What do you guys think? Andrew?
That that she hit the ball. She waited for an angry yell.
So, yes, because it went straight through his window, right, guys? It went straight through his window. So, actually, let's back it up a little bit further. It was going straight for his house, and it kept going right through Mr. Flannery's living room window. So I think that would be the second thing, because that's the next thing that tells you, ooh, this could be bad. This could be bad. Now, how does it kind of end? How does it end? And what's an important detail at the end of it? What do you think? Let's see. Julia, what do you think?
His window was open and it landed on the book.
Very good. His window was open. It landed on the book. Nobody got hurt. Awesome. So the last little bit, it was open. So nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
So I would say that these are 3 important details. Now we could probably add in a few extra ones, like Mr. Flannery threw the ball back. Maybe that they're playing baseball at all. That might be a good detail to add into this. But those 3 details tell us like what was happening. The ball was heading straight for the house. The window, it went through the window, but the window was open, so no big deal. Luckily. It could have hit something else, right? That would have been bad. But those are 3 main details. 3 main details of the story. And again, you could pick out a few different ones. We could be a little bit different on those, and that's no big deal. But you want to make sure that you stick with the main details of the story. What was the main thing that happened? You're not going to say it kept going, or you're not going to say, let me see, oh, it grazed over his hat. You're not going to say that. That's not a main detail. The main detail is what's happening with the ball. Okay? Now, what happens last in the story? What happens last in the story? That'll be our last bit. So what do you guys think? The ball lands in Mr. Flannery's lap. Janelle swings at the ball with her brand new bat. Or Mr. Flannery throws the ball back over the fence. What would you guys say is the last thing that happens? What's the last thing that happens? Gavin, only put it once, please. Very good. Now, when we're talking last, we're talking very, very last, right? Oh, Julia, mute your microphone.
Sorry.
Okay. The very, very last thing is right up here. He leaned out the window and threw the ball back over the fence. So our answer is C. Mr. Flannery throws the ball back over the fence. Very good. Excellent job, guys. You guys are very good at picking out these for summaries. You're very good at picking we'll take our break. Okay? So let's get down here. Okay. So our after-class activities are make sure you're doing your compass work. You guys should have done the Think Aloud 3 and summarizing. The Think Aloud 3 was super short, so that one should have been an easy one for you to go through. And then our summary section. And then read for 20 minutes, write in your journal, and do your spelling. Tomorrow, the spelling list will be up. Tomorrow, the spelling test. That's what I'm trying to say. The spelling test will be up tomorrow. Okay, guys? So make sure you check that out tomorrow. All right. Okay, guys, we're going to take our break, and then we're going to get into writing. Oh, Haley, mute your microphone. Okay, I think we're having a lot of tech issues. Hold on one second. Yeah, we're having a lot of tech issues, guys, because a lot of you are getting kicked out and weird things like that. So hold on. Okay. So it looks